help me welcome to the stage Jeremy Kreitz, Senior District Sales Manager for SKS. Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Kreitz with Signature Kitchen Suite. And thank you for being here. Before we dive into today's session, I want to take a moment to introduce the brand behind this event. You may have noticed something new. Signature Kitchen Suite is now SKS. With a fresh new look and logo, our evolution reflects unwavering commitment to performance, precision, and passion. But while the branding has been refined, our mission remains the same, to create leading-edge luxury kitchen appliances that stay true to food, honoring the integrity and craftsmanship behind every ingredient and its maker. At SKS, innovation isn't just a goal, it's in our DNA. Guided by our commitment to excellence and passion for pushing boundaries, SKS has earned international recognition for its groundbreaking technology, from the industry's first built-in sous vide range to advanced gourmet AI and our new wall ovens. Backed by LG Electronics, we continue to set new standards for the modern kitchen, delivering an elevated culinary experience for today's forward-thinking home chefs. Rather than just telling you about it, let me show you. Here's a look at how SKS is redefining the modern kitchen with this video. Now let's get this session going. This panel will explore how thoughtful kitchen design through organization, lighting, and layout can promote healthier eating habits and support a wellness-focused lifestyle. Moderating the discussion is Danny Seo, co-principal of Rue Media. Danny is co-principal and publisher of Rue Media and the editor-in-chief and founder of his namesake publication, Naturally Danny Seo. He is a co-Emmy awarding host of Naturally Danny Seo on NBC, which is now streaming on Peacock, and is the chief lifestyle contributor to the Drew Barrymore Show. His syndicated column, Do Just One Thing, shares helpful tips on health, wellness, sustainability, and runs in hundreds of newspapers nationwide. Danny is also the author of 16 books, and his line of home products are sold in the US, Canada, and Europe, and over 5,000 stores. We've brought together an amazing group of designers who specialize in kitchens who will join Danny on stage. They are Sharon L. Sherman, founder and owner of Time and Place Design. Laura Freeman, principal interior and architect and designer of Merritt's Design Group. And Sarah Robertson, principal of Studio Dearborn. Enjoy the session.
Nobody clapped for me when I walked on stage. No, please stop. Stop, I'm embarrassed. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you to our friends at SKS, known as Signature Kitchen Suite, and we're so excited to be here today because not only am I the co-principal and one of the owners of Rue Magazine, a design magazine. The reality is wellness, healthy living, doing things that are better for the planet and better for you is really the core thing that I really believe in. So I'm so excited to have this chat with three incredible designers. So I thought what we could start off with is, could you actually introduce yourselves?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit, a fun fact about yourself and sort of what makes you special as a designer. So let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Sherman. As Danny said, I own Time and Place Design. I'm an interior designer, but I specialize in kitchens and bathrooms. I'm located in northern New Jersey. And my special little unicorn superpower is I'm actually a shamanic Reiki master. So I bring a lot of a different aspect of wellness and health and a different purpose to my designs.
I love that. Okay.
Thank you.
That's a tough unicorn to follow. So.
No, it's like a shamaki. I'm Laura Freeman. I'm an interior architect and designer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We specialize in everything biophilic and wellness-driven and sustainable design. And I'm thrilled to be here with these wonderful women, and we're all gleaning from each other. Little fun fact about me that relates to kitchens is I once auditioned for the Food Network star and got through a couple rounds, so there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what recipe did you get eliminated with?
I don't know, but there was a test. I'm a pescatarian, and there was a test at the end about meat temperatures, and I think that might have kicked me out.
Okay, fun fact. Okay.
Yeah.
So what reality show did you get kicked off of?
None yet, but I'm sending it out there into the universe. I'm Sarah Robertson. I'm principal of Studio Dearborn. We're based out of Westchester County, New York. I focus on kitchen design. Fun fact about me, I am ADHD, which I'm discovering has so much more impact on what I do and the way I look at the world than I ever thought. So I'm realizing that my design ethos is kind of focused around that because clutter and visual noise is absolutely a killer for me. And my husband would agree because every time he leaves out anything, and it's been out for 5 minutes, I'm running to put it away. And then he'll be like, what happened to my keys?
I think that's a huge, wonderful thing. It's like when I hire designers, I love it when they admit they have ADHD because it's someone who's going to care and be so detail-oriented. So it's a wonderful thing to have. So
Yeah,
a little jealous because I
think-
don't have ADHD.
We're happy to share with you.
nothing to be jealous of, trust me.
Okay, so we're here to talk about wellness. And so when you talk about wellness and the place that you can really have an impact on healthy living and healthy eating really is in the kitchen. And so for me, one of the true facts, this is astonishing. Did you know the average American household throws away $1,500 worth of perfectly edible food every single year? Now, if you add that up, that's a lot. So the $1,500 for me, it's like, how do we cut back on food waste? How do we make healthier choices? How do we create more of a wellness sort of heart to the home? So for all of you, we'll start with Sarah. What does wellness in the kitchen mean to you?
So I was thinking about this. This is such a good question, and it is kind of a complicated answer. But I always like to take a step back and think about the process, right? And so many of you here today are kitchen designers. And think about how do we roll the concept of wellness into our design process. And I think what's really key is early and upfront, you really need to dedicate some time in talking to your client as you're talking about all the other aspects of the design to talk about not only their current eating habits, the way they cook, but also what are their goals? Like, do they have nutritional goals, things that they would really like to see themselves doing more of to boost the wellness of their family, of themselves? So I kind of like to think about, take a walk through with your clients about what their goals are. Is it about drinking more water? Is it about cooking more fresh vegetables? And then walk through what does that mean for their design. So step by step, what are those stations that maybe you want to focus on? The storage, where they're going to be using more appliances, tuck those away so that it's not creating visual clutter, that sort of thing. Sorry, I was rattling on, but
That's good.
Sometimes it's even about like placement of things in the room, because you don't want like UV light or too much warmth or things like heating up, or like you don't want things to be spoiled more quickly. So it's not just about pretty kitchens, it's about making smart decisions, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so this one's for Laura. So like, how do you define wellness?
So wellness for me is a combination, and it's a marriage of mental and physical well-being. So when you walk into a kitchen, everybody wants to feel like it's open with possibility, clear story windows, high ceilings, that actually translates physiologically to how you interact in a room, whether you're in a boardroom or in your own kitchen. So that's one thing that I really look at. And then the second part of that is the physicality and just the health aspects of a water filtration system through your whole house. Where does the vent hood, does it vent to an exterior wall? Like really evidence-driven decisions that you can make that affect how you breathe, what you smell in the facility and in the home. So that's really important. And of course, natural light is a really big deal in organic materials.
I'm excited to talk about biophilic design with you, because if you've never heard of biophilic design, today's the day you're going to learn like why it's important, why, I hate to say it, I don't like to say trending, but
That's
it
okay.
is trending. Okay. Oh, a bonus tip, by the way, did you know that your exhaust fan, I just learned this on the Drew Barrymore show, so your exhaust fan, you can leave it on in your home like hours at a time if you want to detox your entire home. So let's say there's a little bit of smell like from, I don't know, a fresh paint job in the house. Leaving that on is the most powerful way to flush out all the toxins from inside your home to the outside, because our homes are so airtight and energy efficient that you don't want all those chemicals just sort of cocktailing. What time is it? 11 a.m. cocktailing around in there. Let's have cocktails. Okay. Now, our really good friend Sharon.
Yes.
So what does wellness mean to you?
So for me, wellness is a two-part aspect. It is not only the products that you're using in your design, whether they're appliances or cabinetry, but it's how you feel when you're in it. So if you think about if you're putting on something an outfit that you feel really good in, you look good, you feel good, that radiates out. And I think kitchens are the same way. If you're in a space that you really enjoy being in, you're going to want to spend more time in it. And if that space is set up so that you can create really beautiful meals, healthy, nutritious meals that you're going to feed your friends and your family and bring people together, I think that aspect of the kitchen is super important, right? Because we're all craving that interaction with one another. And I think we really strive to try to create nutritious things for us. We're all trying to lead healthy lifestyles. I tend to wean my clients off their microwaves. I take them and put them in pantries and try to put steam ovens in every kitchen that I do, because it's easy, right? And luxury design is all about time. You know, we can we can get new land with landfills. It's a terrible way to say it, but we can't make more time. And having more time to do the things that we like, to help ourselves really expand our healthy lifestyles and that of our families, all comes down to a good design and a wellness-based design in a kitchen.
Oh my God, does it just kill you when you finish a kitchen project and like so much time and money has been spent on this project, and the first thing that's cooked in that kitchen is a Hot Pocket?
Well, it depends. If it's a healthy Hot Pocket that you've made yourself, maybe, yes. But
Can you imagine? It's like, ding, it's ready.
everybody needs something.
We love our kitchen, Sharon.
I'm so glad.
Okay, Sharon, we'll start with you with this question. So one of the things about timeless design is that obviously with countertops, tile, and cabinets and those things, you can really have more of a timeless appeal with it. But what's happening with appliances, that's really the technology for the kitchen. And so and we're talking about things right now. This is the thing that blows my mind, are transitional drawers. Did you know about these? Am I the last one to know about this? That this refrigerator drawer can be a refrigerator. At the push of a button, you can convert it to a freezer and then back. I was about to make a politically charged joke, but I'm not going to talk about transitioning. Okay, so anyway, the thing is, what I am going to say though is like, what kind of like things are you seeing with appliances right now that maybe these decisions, weren't made like decades ago?
Well, as I said, microwaves, I take microwaves away from my clients. So I think steam ovens have been very important because you can cook so many things in them. I'm getting thumbs up. You can cook so many things in them, and they have so much AI involved in them and built-in recipes that anybody can just push the button, tell it what it's cooking, and it makes this amazing food. Especially if you're single or you're living by yourself, these steam ovens, I've bought countertop models for my kids. So that's one. As Danny said, the convertible refrigerator freezer drawers are almost a must at this point. I have a lot of clients who are vegetarians and are looking for a different way of eating, so having these drawers that can have multifunction I think is super important. And even our regular appliances that can have different cooking modes, so you can bake, you can broil, you can air fry, you can steam, you can do all of these things. Those are decisions that instead of buying 5 or 6 small appliances and having them everywhere, as Sarah was talking about clutter and having things all over your countertop, you can really streamline that down. And I think those are some pretty important things, developments with appliances.
Do you guys hate clutter?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Pet peeve for all of you, you can agree on?
Yeah.
So like, what do you think about like a tabletop air fryer? Are we opposed to that? A countertop air fryer?
Opposed for several reasons. The venting of it, number one.
Oh, whoa, here we go. Okay. All right, we're getting
The air
into
quality,
this.
all of those microbes go back into your kitchen. Where do they go? They end up landing on your countertop, on your cabinet surfaces, all of that.
So if you can smell it, that means microbes.
Yeah, I mean, investing in an exceptional hood for your range is a must.
Air quality.
I mean, it is the number one area in your kitchen that causes poor indoor air quality, which to your point, Danny, of why you could leave it on and it's strong enough, a good one, an exceptional one, will mitigate other, airborne,
And cleaning, right? Don't you think cleaning, like these countertop things that you can't clean, I'd rather push the clean button on the oven.
Gosh,
Right.
my air fryer is dead to me now. Okay. So I
think if you're going to have
else to add about like appliance trends and what's happening
No,
right now?
I mean, I completely agree with Sharon, and I think convection is finding its way not just in the oven to replace the traditional microwave over a wall oven. So convection is amazing. It's a time saver. It's healthy cooking. It's all of the above. And it's ending up in small appliances too. And if you're lucky enough to have enough square footage where we're all designing for maximizing your storage and maximizing the footprint that you have, there are places where you can create stations where all of those are all in one location. You're not dragging them out of a drawer to a counter.
Because that's what I do every day.
We're available for
We can all come over,
if you'd like.
Danny, and,
I need Wilson Phillips to help me with my kitchen. Okay.
So can I add one
I need a
thing?
better trio. That's not right. You guys have to help me with a better trio.
Danny, can I add one thing about appliances? What? You're like,
Sarah,
not
what do
funny
you
though.
think? What do you think?
No, so just to kind of build on what these two were saying, to talk to your clients about steam and sous vide is what I would say. If there are two things you want to talk to them about introducing new healthy ways of cooking, those would be the two things I would say. Talk to them about whether they potentially are willing to look into those things if they're not already using it, because those can be real game changers in terms of preserving the nutrition in the foods that you're eating.
I'm fascinated by sous vide. I'm so glad you brought that up because I do love a meal that's done that way, but I don't know if I have the skill or the patience to do it. I'm curious with the audience, like who has installed a sous vide system in a kitchen, or do you have one?
System? Can it be like a stick? Because
Is it-
that's all we have.
Is it just like a pan of water, right?
Well,
it's like, who has a sous
stick.
vide?
It's a sous vide stick.
It's a sous vide stick.
Well, the
Right.
left side's the fancy side. Enjoy your caviar lunch today, everyone, on the left side. Do we think sous vide is the future? Do we think it's going to be more common and not just for professional chefs?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
I think,
Hope so.
Yeah.
I think people, like so many things, I think people need to realize and understand the nutritional differences in their food when they cook them different ways. And I think that hopefully that information is getting out there, but there's so much noise in our lives about just getting things done and quickly, right? So I think to a certain degree, we as designers need to have that conversation. And I'll say I'm not that much of a chef, but have the conversation about what makes for good, nutritious meals and that process of kind of locking nutrition into foods and what your clients can do in terms of appliances to take like big leaps forward.
And fear. I think the fear, like you said, oh, I'm afraid to try this. And I think once you get over that fear factor, like when I tell my clients they can't have microwaves, they're like, and once they're gone, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what a difference this has made in the way we cook. My kids can do this, it's so easy. And you're not reinventing the way that your food comes out warm. So I think getting over the fear factor is a big deal.
I think it's because they don't know how to spell it. Sort of the first fear of sous vide.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we need to call it like cook and bag. Let's put a cook and bag system.
You know, it also speaks to accessibility of getting the product so that you can take it home and make it.
Yeah.
So this isn't a question just for the designers, it's a question for the grocers or the farmers market where you purchase some of your ingredients. So all of that, like we do a lifestyle questionnaire with our clients, which is similar to what you were talking about. And how do they shop? Not necessarily are we going to reinvent how you actually live, but I think all of that comes into play. We're one spoke on that wheel. And so we have to understand what's accessible in your area. Some people live in central New York and they don't have access to some of the things that someone living in Manhattan does. So all of that is very much a part of the conversation.
Okay, talking about time, I want to ask the audience a question right now. Show of hands. Imagine you all live in Las Vegas, okay? And you're here today working and you're going to be home at, let's say, 6:30 p.m. and you need to cook dinner. How much, raise your hand if spending an hour preparing dinner tonight is something you'd be willing to do. Okay? Raise your hand if you think an hour is too much time. Okay.
It's about 80%.
Now, I want everyone to raise your hand, and I'm going to go down in time. So we have an hour to cook dinner, and then, no, wait, I'm going to go the other way. Wait, I want to go the other way around. This is something that's not in the script. The reality is, just forget, I'm not talking to you guys anymore. The reality is, I'm just not good with audience interactions.
You started out well.
No, I get distracted, and then I just go, and I'm like, oh, look at that countertop. When I look this way, The reality is, like, time is a very precious commodity, right? And so when, push comes to shove, it's like when you get home after a long day and you're exhausted, you're like, you either DoorDash a meal or like you just want to heat something up and have like 15 minutes and you're ready to go. So a lot of us will like maybe just steam a bag of frozen peas, make a salad, heat up a burrito, whatever. What do you do in these beautiful kitchens you're all creating when the reality is a lot of families and homeowners are very time crunched? So does that affect the design at all?
Are you asking? Yes, it does. But you have to design things. Like I design in zones. Been doing this a long time, so I kind of threw out the work triangle. I think of cooking in zones and how you're cooking and how you're preparing. And having everything right where you need it is super important, right? So I like the refrigerator drawers because you're storing all of your greens in there and things are all together and the things that you'll prepare with it. But the beauty of these higher level appliances is that you, like in a steam oven, you can cook 2 or 3 different things at the exact same time. They come out perfect, so it's not like you have 5 or 6 pots and pans going. You set it, you can go and do something else, look at your mail, say hello to your children. The sous vide's the same thing. When you start to prepare it, you set it and you leave it. And you don't have, and if it's on your phone, it calls you when it's done. It's like, come take me out. So yes, you have to have a little forethought in what you're going to prepare and the ingredients that you bring in, but it's just like when you plan what you're gonna wear for the week, or you know what your kids' schedules are, or you know what your work schedule is. We're so used to doing it, I think it's just one more step. And with a little bit of consideration of how you design your spaces, you help your clients really manage their time better through good design.
It probably helps to also have like speed ovens, right? Or something where, because for me, when I look at a recipe, it says preheat your oven. And you're like, I don't want to wait 30 minutes for this oven to preheat. Aren't there faster ways to get to like the start of a recipe right now?
Well,
I'll give that to Laura.
yeah. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, take it, Sarah, take it.
Take it away.
Well, I was just going to say, there are plenty of appliances out there now that you can program to start at a certain time and program to cook an entire meal. So if that's a consideration. I do find, honestly, that most of my clients, though, would prefer simple versus programmable this and programmable that. So you have to have that conversation with your clients too.
There are apps you can use to turn on your oven remote, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and officer, that's how my house burnt down. Because I forgot I was coming home.
Well, you can also set a timer in there, even if you're not an app person. You can, kids come home from school, you set the timer, turn the oven on in 4 hours when you come back, and that way it's heated. And there are grades of appliances where preheating is better in some brands than others. So do your homework. Think about how you cook, how your family cooks, and really ask those questions, because it is about how you live. Unless you're really wanting to transform yourselves or your whole family, I think you have to be true to yourself and how you're actually going to use the kitchen. Like for me, growing up, I grew up in a family of chefs. My sister and brother-in-law ran a restaurant. My grandparents were chefs. So the time thing, what you said, Sharon, is so true about mise en place. Everything needs to be right where you have it. You won't want to be running over here and grabbing this, because the other thing too, then it goes back into that wellness aspect of the mental, I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to go through all of this effort if it's going to be all over the place. So another thing I would encourage people to do, and I've seen this over and over, which goes to wellness, and it's generational. Get your kids involved. Take them to the store, have them purchase farmers market, wherever you're doing your shopping. And part of the kitchen design is giving little spaces where if you all come home from soccer, they can spend 20 minutes with you, put on some music, that's a well movement condition, and get involved. And they're doing their little thing. Maybe it's just putting out the dip for carrots and celery while you're doing something else. So
It'd be kind of fun to even give a kid like their own section of the fridge.
Oh, yeah,
Or like their own drawer, if you have refrigerator drawers. Like, this is where you make food. These are your things that you chose from the grocery store, and things that you can whip up yourself. And sort of
Breakfast,
empower them.
especially, to have a little breakfast area in a kitchen that kids are able to get the things that they're making for their breakfast. And it helps create not only independence, but self-reliance, and I think that's a lot of things that we're finding maybe sometimes our kids today, I mean, my kids are grown now, but that they're able to have that independence, and they're able to feel good about what they're doing. And I think that aids in not having, strange things about food and about body image. I think those are super, super important things.
Yeah, there's a book out right now that I adore for kids. It's by Mark Bittman, the former New York Times food columnist and editor, and it's called How to Cook Everything for Kids. And what I love about it is that it's also great for adults who want to cook but don't know where to start. So it's like the most family-friendly cookbook I've ever seen in my life. So if you want to pick that up, I absolutely love that.
yeah.
Okay, let's go to Sarah. So food preservation, $1,500 a year is wasted. So let's talk about food preservation. Like, this is a passion of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, it sort of became as much a passion, but also just, I had this eye-opening experience, which is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going to share it with all of you anyway. When I redid my kitchen, I bought a refrigerator off of eBay. We were on a tight budget. It was a high-end luxury brand. I'm not going to share brands, but high-end luxury refrigerator. We really liked it. It worked just fine. But I decided that I wanted to go upscale and get one of the new columns that had stainless interior and really hefty shelves, like our shelves were already breaking and so on. So sold the old fridge, got the new fridge. And like 3 weeks later, I started noticing, because I'm big on raspberries on my oatmeal in the morning, and I started noticing, I was like, my raspberries are lasting longer. Have I been shopping differently? Like, I must be doing the best job of finding the best raspberries in the stack, right? So keep it up, girl. And then I realized, like, another week or so later, like, hey, I just got a new refrigerator. Is there a possibility that this is the refrigerator that my super luxury refrigerator that I swapped out was actually not performing as well just in preserving my food? And so I actually talked to the brand of the new refrigerator, and I said, can you believe? And they were like, oh, yeah, of course. It's the compressor, yada, yada. Here's the technical reason why the new one's better. It's like, I had no idea. And how many of you like take a look at the compressors and so on when you're looking at refrigerator purchases for your clients. Do we talk with compressors? Yeah, how many? Compressor talk? No. Nobody, right? So one of the first things I like to talk to my clients about is we want a fridge that's going to work really well. So let's talk about that. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, where is the best place to get this info? Right here. So as designers, like my goal at this show is I want to walk around to every appliance brand and talk to them just about the technical specs of refrigeration and why they think theirs is better, or do they think theirs is better, which would be really interesting. So that's my shtick about refrigerate. It was like so eye-opening.
So we're gonna see you at some of the appliance booths with like a cordless drill. Deep in there, just
Better believe it.
This compressor.
Tell me about your compressor. I want to know it intimately.
No, wait, I remember, I apologize, I can't remember, but I know one of you on our call talked about like having design for vegetarian clients, for kosher clients in particular. Is it all of you?
Yeah, it's all of us probably.
Yeah.
Can we talk about this? Like, how does that affect your design when you're working for a kosher client?
So food is cultural, and culture is food, right? That's the one thing that is universal. Everybody has the types of foods that they like to eat. They have certain ways of preparing them. And you just have to learn, and it was an education process, just like Sarah's talking about finding out which refrigerators have the best preservation. You as designers, you really are charged with a lot. And one of those is doing your research and finding out what best suits your clients and what's best suiting your design ethics, because that's something that's very important. So for me, I had to learn how to design a kosher kitchen, and it was crazy. What you're allowed to have together, what you're not allowed to have together, even how water drains. I would have never thought water draining. So having separate storage for things, you have to have in a kosher kitchen. Have anybody designed a kosher kitchen? It's like, it was an interesting learning curve, right? Because you have to separate meat and dairy for everything. Even we separate the foods in one client's home. I do a lot of work with vegetarians. So having, as I said, the refrigerator drawers for fresh produce, because they're going through a lot of produce, and having an easy way to clean it, and having good storage that, you know, has a system within it that helps extend the life of the foods that you put in it. So those are things. And you have, you know, you go through, especially if you have a lot of greens, we do a lot of CSAs, being able to clean it. So having the proper type of sinks and faucets and having the right sprayers and things that make it much easier to clean these kitchens. And ventilation, I'm going to go back to clean air, because we were actually talking about this yesterday. You know, if you have people that do a lot of heavy stir fry, you need to be able to have something that's going to evacuate the byproducts of the way people cook. So those are technical things that are important, along with cultural things that are important. And you have to respect all of them across the board.
I think that's my new phrase I love, evacuate the byproducts.
Yes.
That's my new motto, I love that. Okay, so Laura, I have to look at this. So you have a motto, it's called Grounded in Experience, Inspired by Nature. So this is all part of your biophilic design. Now, before we talk about biophilic design, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. We as human beings connect physiologically when we're in nature. There's plenty of studies, many of them done in Europe. Now the United States is catching up on some of that. There's evidence to show that patients in hospitals heal and recover faster. Students learn faster and more holistically. We reduce our heart rate, our stress levels. So all of that, if we could take a kitchen and put it in our backyard, everybody loves an outdoor kitchen. I'm working on a lot of outdoor kitchens, and that does something to your brain that talks to yourself through your heart. So all of that, when you look at nature, and there are 14 patterns in biophilic design, and it's not that it's this new thing. Like, I think there are a lot of designers out there that want this for their clients, right? We want natural light, we want airflow, natural organic materials. But being really focused on biophilic design is doing it with intention and understanding what those patterns are instead of the happenstance of, yes, the ears. I talked earlier about clear story windows and having the natural light come in. And all of that really layers into how you feel physiologically. We spend so much time in our homes, and you and I were talking about this yesterday too. People spend more in customizing their cars than they are willing to spend in customizing their home, and especially their kitchen, which is the hub of the home. So take a moment.
Really? People are willing to spend more customizing a car?
Yeah.
And I think
So-
they spend more time thinking about specifications on them too.
Sure.
When you look at how quickly most of my clients make a decision on a refrigerator or a range, but you know how much time they then invest on their car, which they're probably only going to keep 2 years.
Yeah.
They're going to keep the range like until it breaks.
I mean, lifestyle is in the title of this panel, right? So biophilic design is we're all talking about lifestyle choices here, about we're all willing and excited to learn more about how to live a more purposeful and wellness-driven existence with your family. And I think all of that has to be.
Looking around here is like, how would you make this convention space
Yeah.
more connected to nature with biophilic design? This is the worst.
Someone had
place
like
to be.
branches. One of the booths back there had like tree branches. But that's
Like,
the kind of
would
thing. it's to
skylights
mimic.
make a difference?
I love the
Sure.
sodium lights that are up there.
That's
They're
so
always
not
really
Vegas.
pretty.
Yeah, I know.
We're not supposed to know
I
what time it is.
No, I think what's really important, and I think it's for every designer that's out here, you know, if our homes that we live in are really the things that are supporting our lifestyles, right? You're there first thing in the morning, last thing at night. You're usually in your home unless you're traveling. And I think what's really important is that we as designers need to flip our thinking switch to remember that you are creating spaces that are supporting mental, physical, emotional health of the people that are inhabiting those spaces. And once you start to think that way and you bring biophilia into it and you bring healthy lifestyles into it, it starts to make a difference in the way people interact with each other and in those homes. And that's when I talk about the energetic work that I do. It's really changing the balance of energy, that you can create health and wellness in somebody by the designs that you create. I think that it is a heavy responsibility and it is an awesome bit of knowledge that you can really impact somebody's life so incredibly well. And I think if you can constantly keep that attitude in your head of what you are creating with the designs that you are putting together and how you are putting materials and what you're suggesting to your clients, it will mean so much more to them and so much more to you. And I think that is also good for us as designers and our mental health and well-being, because let's face it, sometimes clients can be kind of difficult, right? But knowing that you're creating these spaces for them and they will appreciate it and they will realize what changes you've made to them by the spaces you've designed.
Sharon, Laura, Sarah, first of all, I want to thank you for your time. You were all handpicked by our editors at Rue Magazine to be part of this, so we're big fans of all of your work and the voice and the opinion that you bring. We could not have 3 better designers, but I have to end this with one more question, is that we are here in participation in support of SKS, Signature Kitchen Suite, and if you had a magic wand and could ask SKS to create anything, what would it be? Let's start with you.
I want a home growing refrigerator. I've seen them in Europe where you can have microgreens or you can have not just the little arrow gardens that sit on your countertop, but a real dedicated refrigerator, and I know they were working on it for a while. So everybody write to them and tell them that's what we really need. Because
Love it.
food scarcity, right? And being able, you don't know where your food's coming from, who's touched it. I heard something, bananas were coming in from a country that had venomous snakes in it. And I'm like, oh my God. That you can create, you can control what you're growing in your own home. How cool is that?
Oh my God, new fear unlocked.
I'm so sorry.
Venomous snakes.
I didn't hear that.
All right, this is supposed to be a soft question. Laura?
Well, we were talking about sous vide, so to me, it's a big thing on the counter. Let's integrate it. Let's figure out how to integrate that. If we want people to use it more, Let's make it a little less obtrusive. And I think part of that too, I didn't get a chance to ask you about that, the food mills. I had a compost in our home for 19 years and tried a variety of different versions of it. And now the food mill is a trending item. They're huge and they're loud. So let's figure that out because it's reducing the waste that's going to the landfill. Even if you live in an urban setting and you can use some of the compost in your outside plants, amazing. Go for it.
Let's make compost cool. I endorse that. I
Yeah.
love that.
I see a T-shirt in your future, Danny.
Room Magazine's
Let's make
features
compost
compost is
cool.
cool.
Sarah, what's your dream?
So sous vide again. So they have it. SKS has it in the 48 range. It would be really cool to get it in a smaller range because for me, a lot of my projects aren't big enough to incorporate that big 48-inch range. I would also, I know this isn't nutritional, but I would love to see some options for colors and different finishes, so that we have aesthetic options as well as those really cool functional features that SKS has, like the built-in sous vide, so that you aren't having to make those choices. Because I find that we're so often having to make that choice between features and aesthetics when it comes to appliances, and that's so frustrating. So,
Yes.
Style and sustainability. Those are my two favorite words. We have a couple of minutes for any questions. And so I do ask, if you have a question, please raise your hand, and then just please wait for this lovely, lovely woman to give you the mic. See someone in green.
Hi, thank you for a great talk, and I love that last answer. My question is, what is one thing that kitchens universally currently have that you think is really unhealthy, unconducive to a healthy lifestyle?
One bad thing you wish were never in kitchens.
Fluorescent lights, bad lighting, because lighting really affects us as much as air quality and water quality. So if you don't have good light and you don't have a good source for light, I mean, especially flickering lights can really, it affects your eyes, it affects a lot of things, so bad lighting.
Yeah, it affects your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would build on that with ventilation. I know we talked a lot about that, but I think we're all learning now that especially gas cooking releases fumes that are not so great for us, and it's really important to have a good ventilation system.
But specifically, it's the older version, they're still existing in a lot of homes, the microwave over the range that doesn't vent. Those are not meant to vent outside. They all vent back in your kitchen. That is the one thing, if I could go into every kitchen, I would say, get rid of this.
What about an indecisive client?
Can you imagine me with an indecisive client? No. I think all of us are pretty firm in our knowledge.
You know ahead of time. Right?
We're pretty firm in our knowledge. You have three very strong, very professional people here, and I think our clients kind of know when they choose us. If you look through our work, you know what you're getting into, and my clients count on me. I have one client, she's a great client, and she said, Sharon takes all the infinite possibilities in the universe and pivots them down to 3 of the best, and all I have to do is choose from that. And I think if you can work that way with your clients and really have an understanding of them, like Sarah and Laura both said, you know, when you do your lifestyle questionnaire, I think it eliminates a lot of possibilities of problems.
Very fun. Any more questions?
Hi, ladies. Thank you for sharing your passion. You guys all talk about design in such a wonderful way. My question is, we do a lot of custom cabinetry, and I have a hard time. I work with a lot of young families, and they're closer, sorry. They're very busy, and the time it takes to really look at those interiors and plan them, do you have any tips for getting them more interested in that process, or how you do it in your offices aside from just giving them the suggestions? Because I'm trying to understand how they live, but pulling that information out can be quite challenging.
You know what I've found is that when I have that conversation, it works really well as a Zoom call. Even if my clients are local, I'll figure out a way to talk them into doing it not on site. Because when clients are on site, they're constantly distracted. And the process of designing a kitchen and going drawer by drawer is painful. And I've literally had clients tell me, or they don't tell me, but the husband will call up and they're like, I'm working with Sarah and you would not believe what a headache I have right now. So, you know, this process is hard, right? And so what I do find that if you sort of tell them, we're gonna be on this call for an hour and a half, kind of get ready, it's gonna be painful and hard work, but it's super important, you know? So that would be my tip, is sort of back away and don't do it in person.
More questions?
In keeping with a healthy lifestyle in a kitchen, what kind of countertops do you prefer?
That's for all of you, I think.
I'm a natural stone girl. I take my clients to the stone yard and I don't say much, but I make them touch the slabs. So look at it, get the color of it, I want you to feel it. And we walk all the way around and we get to the end. I'm like, all right, what do you think? They're like, that doesn't feel as good as this does. So you have to remember, I'm bringing a different level of energy work into what I do. So I'm sorry, I'm a natural stone girl. Sorry.
No, I love that for you. Touch the slab. Yes. It's the jewelry of the kitchen. How can you choose something you don't touch?
And you're going to touch it all the time because that's what you're working on. That's the surface you're working on.
It's bonkers. Love that. Okay. Any other?
I mean, quartzite is great. It's very durable. I've had a lot of clients. I always say, I'm not going to live in this home, you will, but I'm here to guide you and give you inspiration and expertise and education. Marble can be problematic to take care of. But it's also very sustainable. So I'm also thinking of sustainability and longevity. When we were talking earlier about how do you design and choose the materials, let's have conversations with your reps and your vendors. And I don't even really think your clients need to know this. It's kind of like what you say. You give them 3 excellent choices where you've done the homework, but no plastic parts. Let's choose things and really ask those questions. What is this fixture made of? What kind of coil is in the refrigerator? And I think those same questions have to happen with the countertops. And it also reflects into what are the clients cooking? Are they cooking? Are they catering? Because there are a lot of things that are really cool that could withstand and meet the sustainability goals, but may not work for a family of 5, but would be fantastic for a professional couple that's having a caterer come in. So.
Any thoughts?
Countertops. From a nutritional perspective, I think we tend to obviously focus more on the aesthetics when it comes to stone, I have to admit. And yeah, for us, it's oftentimes, is it quartzite or is it marble? And if it's marble, do you care about patina? And that tends to be the conversation. And then after we've discussed that, we'll narrow it down. We'll go online, look at a few slabs online, and then go into the slab showroom and see how everyone feels about it as they see the slab for the first time. Does it feel right? Does it feel like them?
I think we have time for one more question.
Oh, she's at her hand.
see where
the
it's-
whole
Your hand
time.
up. Yeah.
2.
Get one more up here, too.
Yes, she's had her
Two.
hand
Poor
up
lady's
a
had her
bunch.
hand up like forever.
I'm not in
Hi.
charge.
Stick with it.
It was mentioned earlier about being able to turn your oven on with an app on your phone now. Are you guys worried with the new refrigerators and stoves and ovens coming out with the EMFs in the air that are going to be coming from the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth off of those coming off of your phone by being able to turn those on?
That's a good question.
I think if you're worried, you could turn them off.
I know. I don't know enough to speak on that. It's a great question.
I do think if you're concerned about it, you could turn them off. I think that we have so many issues with so many things in our homes that are Bluetooth. And if you've got 3 more in your kitchen, I think you have to look at it holistically and start turning off a lot of things if you really are concerned about this issue, right?
What you want to, yeah, what you want to live with, it's a personal choice. Like I have clients who need Sabbath mode appliances, right? Because their lights can't go on and off, and they can't turn things on and off manually. So there are lifestyle choices to be made, and you and your clients need to work through what is acceptable in their, in their home, in their environment.
I think that's the key thing. It's choice. It's your choice of what you want to have, how smart you want your home to be. Actually, we're seeing a huge trend at Rue right now where people want dumber homes.
Yeah.
Like, there's just too much like technology in the home. They're like, I just want a door. I stick a key in, turn it, it unlocks it, turn it. It's the opposite of what I just said. So it's like you don't need an app for everything in the home.
Some people want more technology, some people want less. It goes back to it's a lifestyle choice and what's going to work for you. Because it's really about you. Isn't it nice to have something be all about you?
I agree.
Yeah, I think it is a good point to have the conversation with your clients about that.
Sure.
And whether that's something that they're looking for.
One more question, right?
This lady
This
right in
young
front with
lady.
the cool cowboy boots.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We've really seen an exponential commodification of wellness over the last 5 or so years with social media. And there seems to be an accessory or a solution to any sort of problem that we have, even in kitchen and wellness spaces. How do you steer your clients to not get sucked into that very kind of consumerism driven and steer more towards intentionality rather than get caught up in the latest and greatest storage or organization that sells itself like it's a solution, but might just be more things, more items, more clutter?
Again, it goes back to really take a deep dive with your clients. It's the lifestyle questionnaire that we offer isn't, yes, there's a favorite, what color turns you off, but more of it is, I want to really understand how they live. And if you do that, you are really resonating with uncovering a lot of, my clients have said to me, I didn't know that about myself. I didn't know that about our family. That's your goal. That's, I think, your goal as a designer, is to really witness and uncover, because then you have this release, you have this inner calm, and everything that you can support that emotion. You mentioned it is a combination of mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And I think the more you can be in tune and almost, I don't know if any of you've watched the show The Bear, but they did an episode based on a real life situation from a restaurant in Chicago where they anticipated the diner's needs. You are there to anticipate and educate your clients on what they don't know. We have the whole world of knowledge and the ability to ask and consult. So I think that's what I would say, is that's where you're going to find true wellness, and where the clients are going to go, wow, I had no idea that would make me feel this happy every day. I've had clients who redesigned this area of the kitchen. She's like, I don't know if I want to do that. It was banquette-esque base. And she's like, okay, I mean, all of your ideas are good. And she came and said, I had no idea how much that would change my morning. And so those are the opportunities I think are really important to look at in the word lifestyle, which was what your question was about. How are we going to transform their morning, their day, their evening, and then that's a win for
Make
everybody.
it better, right? Because
Yes.
we're improving things.
Yeah.
And that's why I have a tough time understanding how a lot of these online systems work. You need to have that storytelling. You need to have that connection. I mean, do you stay connected to your clients pretty well? I've seen your, I've seen a lot of your
sometimes
stuff.
texting multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when you really learn.
And
sort of
that's what they're
how your
trusting.
clients are using
They're trusting
space.
us to do
Yeah.
that. They're trusting us to help them change their lifestyle. So, you can, and I'll say to my clients, if you're going to crowdsource everything, I'm sorry, I'm going to fire you. And you're laughing, and I really do. Because I'm like, this is between us. This is not between 20 other people that are not involved in the process. And if that's not going to work for you, we're not going to work together well. Because I want to work with somebody who's really involved in the process. And we're all very process driven. And I think everybody out there, you need to know your process. So when you interview a client and they say to you, tell me how you work, you can explain it from the start. So you don't go down that road where all of a sudden you've got the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, the cousin, the neighbor, everybody else is feeding into this information. I think that's, process is super important to having a happy outcome, because the outcome is all about the experience the client's going to have at the end of the day when you leave.
Yeah, I love that you asked about consumerism specifically, because I hope that we're all focused on that in our design process. And one thing that I think of is appliances. I will have conversations with clients, I'm sure you guys all do too, because now we find there's this almost proliferation of appliances in homes, right? I'll stick it under the counter, let's put it in the bar, let's put something in the master bedroom. And the conversation I like to have with them is, do you need it? Will you use it? Because keep in mind, you know, it's using resources to make this thing, and it's using electricity to run this thing. Will it be full? Are you going to continue to use it? So I think it's really important. I'm so glad you raised that, to have that conversation around appliances, but also gadgets. You know, yeah, and I'll have clients also ask, you know, can we make room for such and such a thing? I'm like, well, tell me about when you use that. How often do you use it? And then suddenly, you know, the conversation will pivot to, well, maybe I should just get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that is kind of what we want to see, is we do sort of want to see a process of simplifying. Like, I think we all need that.
Yeah.
What do you
I know, it's, I always think, what do you think the red flag is when a client gives you a photo of a Kardashian kitchen? You're just like, oh no, this is a red flag. It's like a walk-in pantry that goes on for miles. It's probably not a good thing. We are out of time. So as in any good panel talk, you end on the word Kardashian. But I do want to thank our three incredible designers, Sharon Sherman of Time and Place Design, Laura Freeman of Merritt's Design Group, and Sarah Robertson, founder of Studio Dearborn. So can I please get a round of applause and a big thank you to SKS for bringing us all together. Thank you, everyone.